Be nice to nurses, or find out what worse is. It's Rhyme and Reason 597.
There's a rhyme and reason for your life. There's a rhyme and reason why you're...
Hey there, Tony here, and I hope you're in real good health and absolutely not in need of a nurse. But if you are in need of a nurse, I think it's a good idea, and I've always believed it's a good idea, to be nice to nurses and doctors and other medical practitioners, because they have to see and deal with a lot of ugly stuff, the ugly side of life, and they got to look at death. They have to see that on a pretty regular basis, some of them almost daily. But I'm going to focus on the nurses part right now, especially be nice to nurses. Just imagine having the job of caring for people who moan and groan all day. And some of those people complain and gripe. Sometimes it's an 8-hour day, but other times the work can be, much longer. If you've watched any of those shows where they have to put in their time and sometimes do, long shifts. They're not supposed to go longer than a certain amount of times, but often they do. And nursing is a job that includes stuff like recording medical history and symptoms, and they also have to collaborate with a team so they can come up with a patient care plan, and they speak up for patients who have a hard time expressing their issues to doctors. Some of them do. I'm talking about the good ones. Not all of them are like that, and they have to keep an eye on, the patient's progress and record any changes. And, I can't forget how nurses have to manage your meds and your treatments, right? They got to come in and, it's time for your shot, Mr. Funderburk. Oh, no. And they have to operate medical equipment. That's no small task. They even have to run diagnostic tests. A lot of times the doctors will just, leave that over to the patient. Not to the patient, obviously, to the nurses. And then whatever the tests show up, the nurses have to go in and explain it to the patients, and what they're going to need to do to manage their illness and hopefully get better. And, that includes knowing how to support and advise, all that kind of stuff. So you can see why it's pretty important to be nice, right? But here's another point of equal importance. Nurses need to be nice to patients. Because in spite of what you see, if you're a nurse, in spite of what you see and deal with all day, you should remember, each patient is dealing with their own unique set of circumstances. You don't know what kind of pain they might be experiencing that won't even register on any of your medical equipment. And each person you tend to is another opportunity, an opportunity to show how much you love your neighbor as yourself. In other words, if you wouldn't want something done to you, don't do it to others. And the reason I bring all this up is because my mom just experienced what appears to have been a stroke incident. That's what they're telling her. And she was recently in a hospital near her home in Kansas. But my mom doesn't tend to follow my be nice advice. I know she doesn't listen to my podcast because she has other things going on that she doesn't tune in, so she won't necessarily hear this. But in fact, my mom can be a little hard-headed when it comes to doctors and nurses and hospitals. And since this stroke incident didn't appear to cause any serious visible problems, she doesn't have the slurred speech and part of her face doesn't drop down, she still has plenty of attitude about being at the mercy of her health providers. She doesn't like it, to say the least. And when I say a little hard-headed about it, I'm really practicing my understatement skills. So when I call to check in on her, I hear a lot of the less than flattering talk about her jailers, if you catch my drift there. And I hear a lot of the I got to get out of here talk, I got to get out of here. I don't like it, or you get me out of here, which I can't do anything about it. She's in Kansas and I'm in Colorado. But, when she knows that her family can't even come inside to visit her, that just adds insult to injury. And on that part of it, I'm in total agreement, because I believe family members should not be separated by all the stupidity of this stuff that's going on right now. People are being stupid about the mask and social distancing and separation. Yes, they're being stupid on a high and low level. All right, I'll rein it in a little bit. But anyway, it's not the nurse's fault or the doctor's, but it will be at least partially their fault if they allow this so-called pandemic to become the so-called new norm with no regard for any of the mounting evidence. If they don't start standing up for liberty and truth, then they are part of the problem. And then it's time to not be so nice. And then Mom will be ahead of the curve. Well, as somebody wrote in a song for kids, be nice, be willing to pay the price. Be nice. It's really not so hard to just be nice.
Well, you could be mean, but where's the fun in that? You'd end up by yourself, 'cause all your friends would scat. So be nice as much as you possibly can. And when you learn this well, I'll be your biggest fan. Be nice, gotta be nice. Be nice, gotta be nice. Be willing to pay the price. Be nice, gotta be nice. Be nice, gotta be nice. It's really not so hard to just be nice. Well, now why be mean when you could be nice? You could start a brand new habit, not a sacrifice. Warm up your heart, don't be cold as ice. Just start to do it now, and don't think twice. Be nice, gotta be nice. Be nice, gotta be nice. Be willing to pay the price. Be nice, gotta be nice. Be nice, gotta be nice. It's really not so hard.